Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing live that we have today. As you know, the Latinx Educator Awards are coming up, and I am so honored to have the opportunity to interview Carlos Aguirre. How are you?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
So let's start out.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about you, your story, and your journey.
Well, I am a Hispanic teacher. I teach at East High School. Actually graduated from here. I am an alumni. I was born in El Salvador. They just start from the beginning. I was born in El Salvador. I moved here in 2013. Um, Came to East High School when they were still seventh grade. So I was here from seventh grade all the way to my senior year. Um, they then decided to go to Emporia State to pursue my education major and became a became a history teacher and came back here. They gave me the opportunity to come back and to teach, and I am very happy to do that.
That is amazing. I absolutely love it. How was your experience at Emporia? Did you love
Um,
it?
yeah, I loved it. My mentor, Dr. Meline, she was amazing. She was the teacher of the year in Kansas at one point, and have her just as guidance and just to teach me all these activities, all these things that help me involve students more in my classroom as a history teacher. I want the interaction, I want the discussions. And thanks to her and her advice and all of these things that she taught me, I am able to put that into my classroom and have the discussions that I did enjoy in my history class, like in high school or in college. I was able to enjoy that, and I get to do that with my students now, and it makes me excited because I get to do what I enjoyed doing in high school and give it back to my students.
I absolutely love that. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? And representation in classrooms is so, so important, as we can see.
Yes.
So tell us, how do you feel about being nominated?
If I'm being honest, came out of a shock. I I wasn't really expecting it at all. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't get into this career for to become the teacher of the year or to get any type of awards. I just did it because I do enjoy teaching information that people don't know. Um, I'm very much just passionate about teaching, and to be recognized, even just a little bit, makes me happy. But yeah, it came as a shock, but I'm very happy to be nominated.
We're excited to have you. I know you touched on this a little bit, but can you go a little bit even deeper of like, why does representation matter, and especially in the classrooms?
Just so you can identify yourself with the teacher. If I'm being completely honest, some of my classes are half Hispanic, and they don't speak a single thing of English. So if I wasn't able to speak, like translate it in for them, sometimes they wouldn't understand at all. They would just be there sitting without understanding, and sometimes they do relate to me, like some of my how I got here and what happened to me back in my country. Some of my students can relate to that, and they're like, it makes them feel seen, and that's how I felt when I had teachers who you look just like me and were able to speak my home language, which is Spanish. And I don't know, just representation in this district KCPS is really important, just because we have such a diverse, so many different students from different places from the world, and having that representation in front of you, like the adult in the room looks just like you and does the same things as you, makes you feel more at home, I would say.
Absolutely. So being an educator and your journey, what advice do you have for future educators, or even you know students right now that maybe aren't really sure if they want to do education but they love it? Do you have any advice for them?
Um, the only advice I would say, for me, there was a one point in Emporia where I was very much in that situation. I was taking a lot of history classes, a lot of education classes. I wasn't really actually interacting with students, and I was like, when do I get to actually get some experience out of this? I'm just learning all these things, and I'm not really sure if I want to keep being in education. And what it really got me into staying in education is when I finally got a chance to actually be involved in somewhat of it. Like I was able to go into a after school program in a small town close to Emporia. I was able to go there and help the students and all that and interacting with them. Of course, they were like middle school students. They have more energy than my high schoolers sometimes. But just having to interact with them, talking to their parents, even going outside and playing with them, it really made me feel part of the community. They invited me to their graduations, like middle school graduations, and all of that. It just made me feel like I am in my right place. If I am impacting these kids this much, they want me to come to the graduation, I am in the right place. Um, so I would say for anybody who's doubting, just get out there, have interaction with children, like in the education place where you're helping them learn. And if you feel confident in your place with them, like if you feel like you're doing some impact and they're loving having you around, then you are in the right place. But if you hang out, but yeah, if you hang out with little kids, like with all the students, and you're not enjoying it, then maybe it's not the right place for you, and that's completely fine. You can find your place in another place.
Absolutely. And that goes for so many things, right? You got to really experience it and know that feeling. So, yeah, absolutely. So, switching over to the students now, like, how do you feel we can build the right conditions for the advancement of the Latinx youth?
The right conditions. If that's a very good question, I would say. But the right conditions, I would just kind of like the resources. We definitely some parts if in our districts that there's a lot of students will learn a lot more with more resources, a lot more help. Um, we already doing our the best that we can, and I really appreciate my district and all that. But sometimes there's always more that can be done. The way that classroom can be set up, the more resources that you can take students somewhere else, or just even the Latin students, kind of like even more like kind of like interacting more with the community. Because in my school is high school, we have a big Hispanic community around us, and sometimes I do feel bad because I do not interact with our big community. But sometimes if like we close each other off, when there could be a door between each other where we could like benefit from each other. But sometimes we don't because we're very much closed up because of the language barrier. Most of the parents don't speak Spanish. Oh, sorry, most of the parents don't speak English. So when we try to reach out, they don't really know what we're saying, and there's that miscommunication. And meanwhile, those resources could help to translate, to help them understand that what we're trying to do is build bridges, not just going back and forth without saying anything.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if it completely answers your questions, but
You did. And I think this is just a common thing, like definitely building those bridges, doing the connectedness, the collabs, like it's resources that is so important. And I think that when you have the resources, sharing it out, which sometimes that doesn't always happen. And I think with people like yourself, it's like that's what the kids need. So thank you for bringing that to the table. So with all this amazing work, what keeps you going like every day? Like you wake up and you're like, this is it.
I would say sometimes it's very difficult just because definitely taking care of around like 100+ kids every day, taking care of their every single needs while they're in my classroom, like making sure they're learning, they're staying concentrated. It does take a lot of my energy sometimes. I just go home and just crash down, and then I wake up, okay, I gotta do it next day. Like we just gotta keep going. And will say I'm a person who feeds out of people's energy. So if you have a lot of energy, I will have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So most of my students do have that kind of energy. They're always like up and down. So I feed off from the energy so that they're happy. I'm happy. But it can also work against me. But I wake up every day because I do enjoy teaching. I enjoy talking to my students, interacting, joking with them, teaching them. I'm a very social person, so I need human interaction to just like have a good day. So having that human interaction with my students and just honestly being like treating them like if they were my little siblings or like my little kids, it definitely does a long way, and it makes me feel more, I don't know, like more involved in people's lives than I thought it would be.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're touching many, many lives. And as a person who's not an educator and now in the work within that realm, you just get to see the other side of it and just appreciate all the work you do because taking on 100 siblings one is crazy enough of it, 100, but I can't even imagine like the impact that makes you feel. So thank you for that.
Thank
I have
you.
one last question. What is something you'd love to tell, whether that be a Latinx student or other educators? Like, what do you want to leave them with after this interview?
I will say that one thing that I would love to leave on in this like meeting or like interview, I would say as a Latinx student, don't give up. I mean, I come from El Salvador. Me and my siblings came here 2013 with literally nothing on our name. We started from the ground up, and I will say that I am very proud to talk about my siblings and me, because we came from this district where everybody looks down upon KCPS because we're the bottom of the bottom, and they say like, "Oh, these kids will never go anywhere. They will just stay there." But I can say proudly that my brother right now, he's doing his PhD in Johns Hopkins. I got my 4-year college degree in Emporia. My sister is getting her 4-year college degree in Donnelly. So it's just never done. It doesn't matter what other people say. As long as you put everything into it, you will come out from the other side better, and you can show all those people that they were wrong. So just don't ever give up. Even if everything around you is pushing you down, as long as you have the mentality to keep going up, you can do it. So, but yeah.
What a great way to end. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much, Carlos, for your time today. Thank you for all the work you do. Always here to support you, and we just appreciate your time today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, LEC, and we'll see you again soon.
It was like us in different ways. We're sitting there like in the arena in Las Vegas, like.
When I started this LEC community,